Welcome to Miss Martin Muses. Welcome to Miss Martin Muses, where we muse upon what makes me laugh, makes me cry, makes me happy, makes me sad, or just really ticks me off. Well, today we're talking about things that make me very happy because, of course, we are talking about J.R.R. Tolkien's The Silmarillion, and I should also add things that make me incredibly disturbed, which is chapter 21 of the Tolkien. We're going to get into some family loving. So joining me once again is all the way from somewhere. It is Lady Gravemaster.
Hi.
Hello, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. It's always an honor and a privilege, especially because it's Tolkien. Yeah. But I do have a question. I know it's the Silmarillion, but I saw Stig's tweet the other day, where I think it was yesterday, where he just finished Children of Hurin. I had no idea that you'd never read that, Stig. So are we going to talk about that book after Silmarillion, possibly? I know that we had something else planned, but maybe way down the future.
I don't know.
I'm talking to Teresa. But I had no idea because it's your channel. But I just meant, are we going to talk about it? Because I read that book, I think, because I had read Lord of the Rings, and then I was like, oh my gosh, I want to read more. And so I devoured everything. And I actually found it was on I will never forget this because I almost broke my neck. I couldn't find a Barnes and Noble's worker. And
so you wrestled with someone and almost broke
no.
Oh my god.
Okay, you have to understand, I was 11 years old. The top shelf is very high. Okay? And I was like, why is it all the way up there? And there was a big sign underneath the top. So it's on the bottom of the top, the actual shelf of the top shelf. And it said Tolkien, and then it was Tack, and then the other author's name, and it was Trist or something like that. And I was like, okay, well, I really want to know what that Tolkien book is. But I couldn't find anyone. So I climbed up the shelves and I grabbed 4 books. It turned out they were all the same book. It was Children of Hurin.
So you actually grabbed all 4 children.
Yes, I grabbed all 4 children. No, but I was up there, and then I heard my mother's voice, and she snapped at me, and she 3-named me while I was on the shelf. And so I tried to drop gracefully, but I was never a dancer for a reason. I'm going to put it that way. And I crashed it. It was almost a scene from The Mummy Returns, or The Mummy, where the library bookshelves all topple over, because I fell and I slammed into the shorter row of shelves that are freestanding in the aisle behind me, and it violently tilted backwards and it spilled all the books. It was a bad day, but it was a good day because I got the book, and then I read it, and it was fantastic and totally worth the near-death experience.
Well, wow. Well, I'm glad you stayed alive to be with us, and who knows what'll happen in the future for what we're going to do here on Miss Martin Muses. We did determine that we're going to have probably about 2 more streams left to finish up the Silmarillion and the everything in the book, because so much of it is appendices, and then we're going to move on to other fun stuff. But something even more fun, or not, is actually, I can't diss Princess Rennie.
I've heard I can be a lot of fun. No, I'm just kidding.
No, you are. I just can't diss. It doesn't work.
Oh, you're too cute, and I only take it out of fun. So nice to be here as always. I appreciate the invite, Teresa, and it's always fun to speak with you guys about stuff that we love. There's so many things out there where people are ranting about stuff that they hate, but I think this does better mental health wise in the world that we live in to talk about stuff that makes you happy. Mm-hmm. So it's always a pleasure to be here and to bounce ideas off of each other and the chat and all that stuff. So I'm very, very delighted. And, as a certain friend of ours said, reading helps to de-stress you, and that's really, really true. So
absolutely. Yeah. And I just keep thinking, what makes you happy? And today, what makes you disturbed? And speaking of something that is not disturbing, or is, depending on your point of view, all the way from the future, way up in a northern latitude, it is the one, the only, the Viking himself, Steve Kenobi.
Hi.
Hey, how's the future?
Uh, kind of gray today.
No.
Gray, and the world is full of twats still. But
Okay.
you know,
Well, that's not going to change. I
nothing,
don't think.
nothing new.
Okay. And of course, in the chat, as always, we have Jacob Ironside, others also from the future. And Andrew Hale, thank you for being here. Always great to see you. Lady Gravemaster. Let's see. Boosh McFadden, hello. We also have our resident polar bear, also from a northern latitude, sitting out on an iceberg near you, Steve. And
Yeah, I saw him drift by the other day. He was having a picnic on a little iceberg, drifting by.
what was he eating?
A salmon.
Oh, okay. So the baby seals were okay.
Kenobi, I'm
think
supposed
so.
to tell you hello from Lord Gravemaster.
From who?
From my husband, Lord Gravemaster.
Oh.
Lord Gravemaster.
Hello.
Matt. Oh. And we have Matt G and like McDonald's. I'm not entirely sure what that reference was, but that's okay. And of course, we all like bacon here at Miss Martin Muses. Yes, we do. So
Matt G is obsessed with unhealthy foods and fast foods. Don't ask me why.
well, they're guilty pleasures. They're guilty pleasures. Hello, Hound 3000, who needs some love. Oh, I'm sorry. Needs some hugs. Needs some hugs.
Let's not get carried away. It's just a hug.
I mean,
Hugs isn't always love.
Yeah. And dogs doesn't always
There's
mean
a-
doggy style.
I mean, if
Oh my gosh.
there's I'm just saying, a hug is only dangerous if one or both parties has a knife, because you can slip it between the third and fourth rib and it's over. You've got about 45 seconds before you bleed out.
Oh.
Okay. That's I'm not hugging you ever.
I'm a great hugger.
Okay, well, yeah, great hugger. The last thing you see before you meet Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay,
Wouldn't it be nice if you go to Jesus through a warm embrace? Doesn't that sound like a fantastic way?
Not if there's a dagger sticking out of me. No.
I am not
What
the
about
one
a
who
machete?
I am not the one who will slip a dagger in anyone's back. I promise.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, we do know that you do not stab people in the back. Andrew
No,
Hale
she
is.
absolutely not. She stabs him between the ribs. Said so.
Or cuts their throat. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Holy shit. Oh, pardon my French. Okay. Andrew Hale says I'm English, so I'm kind of from the future. Okay. Hey, what do you watch Premier League, and what's your club? I'm curious. Today, Snortopupus Kubura says today's linguistic treasure. The word twat is derived from Old Norse. I can't pronounce that. Cut, slit, forest clearing. So thanks, Stieg and his ancestors for this most useful word.
Yep.
Oh, there we are. Oh, and he's giving nose boops and treats to people. Thank you. Yeah, be nice. Hugs her. Howdy. Hello, Keck44. Hound 3000 says I'm from the east, further east, and it's already midnight. Oh, okay. What? Far east. Oh, all right. I can kind of get the general gist there. Wow. Well, you're further in the future than everyone here.
You guys, okay, so you guys remember there were actually people who like got mad at like China and stuff because it was already September 12th there. Why didn't they tell us this was going to happen? Like, they failed to realize that
Actually, that was a thing.
that was a thing.
Gosh.
Like, they were like pissed because they were like, China, like, it already happened in China, so like, why didn't they tell us? And it was at that moment that I realized there are people who are truly beyond hope in this world.
Yeah. He gave up
that's
hope for
really
the future of humanity.
That's really dumb. It's like, just because they're 12 hours ahead of you doesn't mean that it's happening for them 12 hours before you. It's like it's 6 p.m. here and 6 a.m. there. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I don't think people get that concept. That's so dumb.
Yeah.
I have to chime in for about what he's saying about Man City. He's kind of how how do I put this? People from Manchester support Manchester City. People from China support Manchester United. Because it's just Man United just have fans from everywhere else. It's a thing. So a Man City supporter has my respect always. And I actually liked Man City quite a bit in the 90s before they had money. And they had like players like Paul Dickov and Ken Cladsey and stuff like that. Awesome club.
Oh. Well,
Personally,
cool.
though, it doesn't hold a candle to my dear Blackburn Rovers, but still.
Well, yeah. Well, we need to get them promoted. Yeah, and I did ask the question, what's his football club? Yes, he supports Man City 5 minutes from the stadium. That's amazing. Hey, you all had a great season, and what a final. Holy crud.
Try being a Twins fan stuck outside. I know it's not soccer or football, whatever you guys call it over there. You're wrong. But
It's football, unlike rugby with armor, because they're afraid to get hurt.
No, but like baseball in Chicago is taken very seriously, and I don't know, but I had to stay for a while just outside. Like I think I was like 10 minutes from the stadium, and like not thinking, I was like, oh, I'm gonna wear my Twins hat. That I am surprised I didn't get shanked. I took the hat off at one point because I thought I was going to get murdered.
Well, you'd make the evening news if you did that. Oh, don't distract Jordan Poopus. He hears Squawk Hawks. You're going to make him hungry.
The Eagles have arrived.
The Eagles are coming.
Selvington, yes, the Eagles have arrived. But you know what else has arrived? The fifth battle. And I'm looking here at the summary. Last week, we had previously on the Silmarillion, we had Beren and Luthien. And that was, I know, a really big one. That's probably the love story of all of the Tolkien's lore. And he even put Luthien on his wife's tombstone. That's how much they loved each other and how much he loved his wife. And Rennie, that it was one of your favorite love stories. I just thought it was funny that they all just kept coming back to life. I mean, people want to complain about Gandalf. Holy crud. How many times did Beren die and come back?
Look. It's okay. It's fine.
Well, yeah, it is okay. Yes. Hello. Yes, you did get it right. Yeah. So that's what we had. And this chapter actually starts off with a little bit of an appendice about
I didn't mean to cut you off, Rennie. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're geeking out. Milton Knowles, the Insane Witch King. Hello. I'm not sure if welcome to Miss Martin Muses, and thank you for being here. And give us a like, share, and a subscribe. As always, we have Beren and Luthien. They return to Doriath after he's come back to life for the 100,000 millionth time. And Melian, looking in her eyes, realizes that Luthien is mortal and faces the heavy grief of their permanent separation beyond the end of the world. Then they travel alone to Osirion, where history loses track of them. Dior, their son, and Tengul's heir is born there. And of course, all I'm thinking about is the perfume. So,
Right?
Yeah. and I think it's part of the mystery and the legend of their love that no one really knows much about them, just knows that they lived up to their ending, the ending of their days, and they pass into history. And then Maedhros, hearing about the deeds of Beren and Luthien, realizes that Morgoth isn't invulnerable. So there actually is a reason to all that love and stuff. And he begins to gather a united force of elves to fight him. But Feanor's oath, because Feanor sucks, and the curse of Mandos work against him. Odoreth, angry at the sons of Feanor, won't send help. Only a small company from some big place starts an inn led by Gwyndor joins the union. Thingol also refuses to join since the sons of Feanor want his Silmaril. Once again, the precious is messing with people. The Silmarils are the precious of the story. The dwarves aid Maedhros, as do Fingon and the houses of men. Though the united armies drive back the orcs from northern Beleriand, Morgoth sends many spies among them once again. So we have Morgoth. I don't want to say he's Gargamel. Steve, I remember that you had an analogy for him.
I don't.
Or like hit and run or something.
Oh
Or
yeah,
you know,
he's basically doing hit and run tactics.
yeah,
Gorilla.
Yeah.
yeah, guerrilla tactics
More
and
like
some
he gets
spies.
bitch slapped and runs away all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Up,
feel like he likes
up until
to get
now,
his
anyway.
exactly. He likes to get his hits in, and if he feels like it's not going his way, he runs away and then continues to fortify himself and then comes back again.
I mean,
Yep.
but that's brilliant though, because it's really hard. All right. Not that I want to give anybody like tactics, but when you can't, even if your enemy is depleted, if they can always retreat, regroup, and come back and hit you, and you don't know how, and you have no base of operations to take out to sort of settle the score, like in Two Towers, Helm's Deep was a target because it was their last fortified stronghold. Yes, the women and children could flee through the mountain pass, the caves, but like really it would have just been, they would have probably fled to Gondor, maybe, if Gondor would have taken them, and then they would have met their fate there instead. It's basically like it was if they could get Helm's Deep to fall, they knew that Rohan would fall.
Yeah.
So when you have a target like that, it's very easy because it's a morale thing, it's a psychological thing, but also it's a basic geographical fact. When you have an enemy who is constantly retreating, like even if you deal what should have been a devastating blow, Bruce McFadden, even if you have what should be a devastating blow, but they retreat and you don't know where because you have no intelligence on any base of operations, there's nowhere for you to strike. They can pull back to wherever it is they want to go and regroup and come back and hit you again in a different location, and maybe they found your underbelly or they found a weakness you were unaware of and they can exploit it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What I love though is the fact that Morgoth keeps sending spies and people to F around with the people, and it still works.
Yeah.
It's like, haven't they figured out yet? Wait a second. Remember the last time when someone kept like poking at us?
Exactly. You haven't
asking
learned.
too many questions. And it's like, hey, hi, how many men do you have? Maybe someone would go, hey, maybe this is Morgoth's again. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're all right. Those are and points. And so then we get into some tactical stuff. Maedhros plans for them to attack Angband with his armies advancing from the east and Fingon's from the west. On the day of the attack, Maedhros' forces are delayed by the treachery of a man named Ulfang, but Turgon leads Gondolin's army to join the siege. Morgoth knows the elves' plan and sends orcs toward Hithilium to draw Fingon's army out of the hills, but it holds its position. Morgoth's captain rides up to Fingon's fortress with a prisoner, Gwyndor's brother, Gelmir, and I'm so happy the names are almost kind of different, and warns the army that he'll begin killing prisoners in Angband as soon as he returns. He mutilates and kills Gelmir, leaving his body, and rides away. Gwyndor leads the charge from the fortress. I can just see him going, ah! And the army rides out after the orcs, killing them quickly and bursting through the gates of Angband. An ambush is waiting for them inside. All the first men through the gate except Gwyndor are killed, and the host of Fingon is driven into retreat. That's like sad. But I guess the bad guys, they use those tactics. They don't sit and go, oh, is this a part of a prisoner of war situation? Is this moral? It's like, no, the bad guys, they don't have any rules.
No.
It's not a war crime if you win.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, that is not true. Just so you know, when the Allies and the Axis finished fighting, yes, everybody remembers the Nuremberg trials where the Nazis were put on trial, former Nazis. I was just following orders, but there were plenty of allies who were tried and found guilty of war crimes. Like there was one guy, I can't remember his name, but his nickname was like the Skull Viking or something like that, because he would literally like take the jawbone from the Nazis that he killed and like wear them. You can't do that.
Well,
taking trophies is not allowed. And
Yeah,
he didn't deny it
that's
either.
a jaw drop right there.
They put him on trial and they were like, this is what you stand accused of. And he was like, yeah. Like they were like, are you gonna defend yourself? And they were like, and he was like, what's there to defend? I killed them and I took proof of my kills. They were bad. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
That's terrifying, but I'm kind of glad he was on our side.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, you have all bad things, and it is true. Well, what's a good point? Milton says it's not written up as a war crime if you win, and it's only a war crime if you annoy the winners. Yeah, so yeah, lots of things do get under the battle, but yeah, these people suck because they're Morgoth. Then it said, then we have a battle on the fourth day that the elves call the Battle of Unnumbered Tears. Who says the elves aren't melodramatic? They're melodramatic. Unnumbered tears. Most of the men of Brethil are killed, and the armies of Hithlum are surrounded, and Turgon arrives with reinforcements. Maedhros and his army finally arrive to attack the enemy from the rear. At the same time, Morgoth sends all his creatures out from Angband, separating Maedhros and Finrod's armies. Ulfgang's men turn on Maedhros' army, and the other armies of men appear from the eastern hills to attack. Maedhros' army is scattered, though all the sons of Feanor escape. Damn them! The sons of Feanor, always causing trouble. And Gothmog attacks the western battlefront and drives them to the east. Fingon faces him alone until another Balrog attacks him from behind. Yeah, talk about getting stabbed in the back, man. You got a Balrog. Gothmog strikes Fingon's helmet with his axe, killing him. Again, if they want to do a Lord of the Rings story, holy crud! Imagine this on the big screen. These would all be amazing. Of course, as we know, they don't have the rights. And then Turgon and Hurin hold the pass of Syrian together until Hurin, believing he's about to die, urges Turgon to free to Gondolin. Hurin covers Turgon's retreat. The final stand of Hurin's men is the most renowned deed of the early men. Huron's brother Huor, dagnabbit, why do they all have to start with the same letter? And all his men are picked off until only Hurin stands. Or is it Hurin? I don't know. He wields his axe with both hands, killing orcs and shouting, "Day shall come again!" A modified version of Fingon's earlier battle cry until he is taken captive. Morgoth has successfully corrupted some groups of men and destroyed Fingon's kingdom. The forces of Maedhros' union are scattered or dead. Morgoth sends more men and orcs to harass the remaining allies. Many flee to the havens, which Morgoth destroys the following year, killing or enslaving Círdan's people. I mean, holy hell. A few escape by sea to an island, including Círdan and Gil-galad. Círdan sends ships to the west seeking aid, but none reach Valinor. Morgoth is troubled by the idea that Turgon, now technically the High King of the Noldor, escaped him. When he seeks information from Hurin, and this is really intense, Hurin mocks him. As punishment, Morgoth curses him and his descendants with sorrow. There we go. Then curses him again with a spell that forces him to watch all his children suffer. Still, Hurin does not ask for mercy or death. The orcs pile the bodies of men and elves into a hill, and eventually grass grows over it. The only green place in Morgoth's land. Princess Rennie, why? Why?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting chapter. I don't know. The battle was kind of sad for me because of the fact that, as predicted, some of the men decided to betray the alliance and wound up helping Morgoth to win, which sucks. Therefore, he got to capture Hurin and torture him, which sucked. So, yeah, it was kind of sad, but at the same time, Huron stuck to his ethics, and I admire that very, very much. And he kept his friendship with Turgon. And so I mean, there were some good parts where it talked about, like, there were some good people there, but it's sad because I think it says something like, now the elves no longer trust men, so to speak. And I know I'm totally paraphrasing, I'm saying it completely differently, but
No, you're right.
but basically that's the gist of it, thanks to these evil men that decided, well, we're gonna sneak off and help Morgoth, and betray our friends.
Exactly, they suck. Well,
Yeah.
Lady Gravemaster, your thoughts on all this?
I think that, quite frankly, traitors should have absolutely no mercy shown to them ever. I don't care if they're men, women, maybe give the children a pass because they were likely being influenced and groomed by someone terrible. But it's going to take a lot to right that type of wrong out of their soul. But otherwise, fear, I think that the brilliant part of this is like, well, we can't beat Morgoth anyway, so we may as well join him. And in reality, if they had not done that,
Kind of like people shilling for Disney.
yeah, like, if it's like, well, we can't beat him anyway, let's go ahead and let's give him this information, maybe he'll spare us or he'll make us they're too scared of their lives ending. But the truth is, I would rather have my life end than be remembered as a traitor, especially when it comes to the freedom of men and elves and Middle Earth, or here in this world, freedom of my fellow man. I would much rather not be remembered as a traitor.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had one up in Norway during the war, Quisling, which is a word for traitor now.
Oh.
Well, World War II sold y'all out?
Yeah, he sold us out during World War II.
Yeah, see, I don't have... Now, there's a difference. Everybody's like, how can you make the differentiation? So, I don't actually hate spies because they're doing their job. If that's the thing, if they're able to infiltrate your rank and they're able to break down or get through safeguards and stuff, they're doing their damn job. Their loyalty was never to, like, you or your cause or your country or what have you. Their job, their loyalty was to whomever they're spying for, right? Whoever it is that they're serving. Now, if they're a spy for hire, they're kind of, we can quibble over that. But if it's a spy for someone and during the Revolutionary War, thank God we don't have any Brits on this stream. Like, women made excellent spies. They were able to Morse code via laundry. Do you know how genius that is? Like, that's freaking brilliant.
Yeah,
so
you get a clean reception too.
Oh, dear.
Oh, God.
Well, pillow talk, it's the thing. Well, you know what? We actually have a whole bunch of English people and British people in the
I know.
chat.
I know, but
Well,
you're not
know,
on the panel.
We're
so
friends now. We're friends
right?
now.
We are friends now. But yeah, no, it's oh man, could you imagine having to live with the fact that you're alive because you betrayed so many people and most of them are dead because of you? I could never, if I failed to protect someone, that would be hard enough. But knowing that I traded my life for countless others, I would never be able to look myself in the mirror again. And I'd probably take my own life, quite frankly, because that's just a horrible existence. Unless there was some flash of consciousness or you genuinely believed that you were suddenly no longer on the right side, like if an orc suddenly had a break in consciousness and came to Rohan or Gondor and told him the attack was coming, and he's like, I can no longer serve the Dark Lord, maybe it was because he saw Galadriel and the light broke through and it released him momentarily or something like that. That I could, if you had a genuine change of consciousness. But for people who simply do it out of greed and or fear, I have zero respect for them, and they need to die in a gutter, and that's even too good for them.
Wow. Well, yeah, and of course, people that do turn traitor, they often they don't have a soul. That's how they're able to do it. Yeah.
It's a terrible, terrible thing.
Yeah.
I am gonna roll out if that is okay. I'm so sorry.
No, yeah, I saw you need to go, so that's why I wanted you to get your 2 cents in before we moved on. Yeah, well, thank you for your thoughts. Thank you for being here, as always. And have a great day with whatever you all are up to. Is there anything you want to plug before you leave?
Subscribe to Miss Martin and Steeg because he hates it and it will irritate the ever crap out of him, and we live for that. And subscribe to Princess Rennie. You guys are all amazing. These are great channels, and we've got some pretty big. I mean, I don't know how many of you have seen like the IGN and the Empire and all the articles that have been coming out with this Amazon's Lotterop. I like to just call it Trop because it's really it's a trop trap. But we've got some big fights ahead of us. I'm not even gonna lie, like, because when this crashes and burns, and it will, and they're gonna try and, honest to God, they're gonna try and what is that? Gaslight. They're gonna try and gaslight you guys. Just saying. When this crashes,
they're already doing it.
Oh yeah, they're hedging their bets right now. They're definitely hedging their bets, but the gaslighting is when those first 2 episodes or 3, however many they're going to drop on the day of Tolkien's death, might I add, and the backlash becomes even more severe. I'm telling you, the gaslighting. Well, we never said, like, they're already hedging their bets why this is different than Tolkien's Middle Earth and why that's a good thing. It's the same stuff we saw with Wheel of Time. It's the same strategy. They're going to do it with Lord of the Rings. With their Rings of Power anyway. And when the gaslighting comes, guys, just be prepared. And be like, no, keep records, guys. Make sure you are archiving and screenshotting the crap out of stuff. I know I am. But much love to every single one of you in the chat. You are all beautiful. Thank you for being here. Make sure you hit that like button. And while you're there, there's this bright red one that says subscribe. And you'll catch all of Miss Martin Muses' stuff. She's fantastic. And we absolutely love and adore her. And I love and appreciate every single one of you. Thank you for having me on, Teresa. It is always an honor and a privilege.
Okay, well, thank you for being here. Have a great day.
Thanks. You guys too. Bye.
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 Yeah. I mean, all true. So before we move on to something very interesting, it's all very interesting. But Steve, is there any thoughts about this chapter before we move on?
Oh, it's an awesome battle chapter, really. Mm-hmm. In the book, though, it got a bit confusing with all the names.
Yeah,
because it was like an overload of names of groups of people and individuals. But I kind of made sense of it. But yeah, and Morgoth got to actually do something very, very evil. Mm-hmm. And he was kind of also on screen, right? Which he rarely is. You hear about what he's done and all that, but this time you actually get to.
Yeah, that's a good point. He usually manipulates behind the scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or you hear about him in the third person or even in the past tense, like this is what he did. Yeah. Gosh, yeah. Good point. He sucks.
No, he's an excellent villain.
Oh yeah, I know, but he sucks at, he's a bad guy, I guess.
We just know that Sauron got his MO from him, evidently. We know where you got your battle plans,
Yeah. Well, the master and the apprentice.
That's right.
So, though not exactly entirely. With that, alrighty. Well, in that case, let us go on to a very unfortunate man named Turin Turamber. And help
man.
me out before we get started. Turin or Turin or I
Turin.
don't want to say it again.
I think, yeah.
Turin.
Turin.
I think that's how they pronounced it on the audiobook is Turin.
Okay. Yeah, because I was listening to these on the audio and in others. These are hard reads. And like I said, I feel like I'm doing some really, really intense stuff. And I just saw something in the private chat that I'm like, what the? Turin. Yeah, everyone's saying Turin. Okay.
Yeah, Turin.
Turin. Okay, yeah, but for some reason when you say it, it sounds better than when I say it.
Just because I'm saying it correctly.
Yes. All right. Well, let's get
Wow.
going on this. And of course, these are summaries. Morin, Hurin's wife, has a son, Turin. Gosh, now I am self-conscious. The year that Baron and Luthien meet. At the time of Hurin's captor, Turin is 8 years old and living in Dolormine with his mother, who is pregnant again. When other men, the Easterlings, are sent by Morgoth to invade, Morwen sends Turin to Dorioth with 2 servants. Morin gives birth to a daughter, Nienor, and that same year, Thingol takes Turin in and fosters him. Thingol invites Morwen to come to Doriath, but she refuses to leave her house. Turin lives with Thingol for 9 years, exchanging messages with his mother until Thingol's messengers stop returning from the north. He then puts on the dragon helm, an heirloom sent by his mother, and goes to battle to protect Doriath's borders with Beleg Strongbow. So this is his background. And like I said, it's significant that, he has a sister. So you have a sister. And they're separated because he's been made to go and be fostered with Thingol.
Well, when it comes to Hurin and the sister, it's all relative to them.
Okay, Milton, thank you for being here. Have a good night.
Sleep well.
Yeah. Oh, hi, memes. Yeah. I thought it was cool. I liked the whole dragon helm thing he got from the north. And
yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, we always like that.
It's also cool
and,
that Thingol fostered him. Sorry, Steve.
Well, if anyone watching wants to get the full, complete story of Turin, there's the Children of Hurin novel. But if you get the audiobook, it's narrated by Christopher Lee, which is probably better than reading it, to be honest.
Oh, that's really cool.
You heard it here first, everybody. Christopher Lee, what a man. Gosh darn it. Yeah.
I just wish he had gotten to narrate the whole of the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. That would have been amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we missed out on that. To me, we got maybe the next best thing because I have the ones by Andy Serkis. Who these classically trained actors, you just can't beat them. And yeah, Scott Lidd, am I saying that right? Scottiege says, "Oh, nice. He probably makes it sound even more tragic." Oh, I can just imagine. All right, so. Let's see what's happening next. By the way, these are from summaries. I will say when I'm actually reading from the Tolkien text, just because there's so much here. When Turin, I'm self-conscious now, returns to Doria 3 years later, an elf named Saros, jealous of the honor Thingol gives him, mocks his appearance. The next day, Turin forces, I shouldn't laugh, forces Saros to run naked through the woods, where... But you see, it's all unfortunate because it's all fun and games until Saros falls into a chasm and dies.
Naked.
Yeah, he was naked and went too deep and died.
Oh gosh. Okay, thank you, Scotty J. Oh my gosh. I shouldn't be laughing because what was it? Jacob Ironside story reminds me of Hamlet's soliloquy, to be or not to be. Yeah, it's Shakespearean, it's a Greek tragedy, it's all this.
Actually reminded me of what Mora did on that Conan game to those retards.
Which
She was whipping them through the woods.
Oh yeah, she was. Yeah, that's like, did she make him go naked? Yeah, but she didn't kill him and
No.
fall off into the chasm and dies. I mean, you see, this is why hazing is bad, or any kind of that kind of stuff. Hi, Timon. Good to see you.
Yeah. We don't condone chasing naked people through the forest.
Because you'll fall into a chasm and die.
Just so you guys know, in the illustrated version, you can see him falling from the backside naked. It shows his butt.
Oh gosh, you've got to be kidding
I'm like,
me.
oh my god, why?
Oh gosh. Sick people. Okay, when Turin returns to Doria 3 years later, an elf named Saros, jealous of the... Oh, wait, I just said that. Dagnabbit. Chasm dies. Okay, Mablung, one of the wardens of Doriath, urges Turin to go to Thingol and ask for forgiveness, but Turin flees, afraid he'll be imprisoned, and joins a band of outlaws. Why not? Yeah, because people saw it. This was in the text. And they were like, hey, man, we saw it was an accident. You'll get forgiven and all that. But, he would... I'm sorry, can I read aloud what you just said, Stieg, or not? In the
Sure, if you wish.
He said crack meets crack. Okay. Everyone's like, are the outlaws naked? No, I don't think so. But yeah, so he goes off and joins a bunch of outlaws. And when Thingol hears of what happened, he pardons Turin. Okay, here we go. And still considers him a son. Beleg leaves Doriath to find Turin and convinces him to return. Meanwhile, Turin has renamed himself Nethan, the Wronged.
Yeah, kind of bitter, isn't he?
I know, he's bitter and emo. How emo? My name's the Wronged.
They wronged me, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna sit and cry about it. While he's away from his camp, the other outlaws catch Beleg, assuming he's a spy. Turin returns and releases him, then swears not to harm anyone but Morgoth's servants again. Despite the pardon, Turin refuses to return to Doriath, even to help defend it. Beleg returns to Thingol to relay the message and receives permission to stay with Turin as his guard. Thingol gives him the sword Anglakel, made by Eol. I can't say these names. Melian warns him that it contains malice and won't love the hand it serves. Then gives him Lembas, the way bread of the elves. And I think this is the first time in this narration that we see Lembas. Am I right there, Stieg, or am I imagining this?
The Lembas?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. It's the first mention.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, and it's significant because it's a big part of the lore of this, and also the fact that she's giving it to a human.
They're kind of scroungy with their gifts, though, the elves. I mean, you get a couple of sandwiches, right? Lembas sandwiches, and Galadriel gave Gimli a couple of strands of hair. Sam got a rope. It's not like they're giving away expensive things, is it?
So you're saying they're cheap?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I don't know if this is true, where Snortopoopa says, I think Turin holds a record number of names he uses. Yeah.
Oh, he does.
Yeah,
use a
I
lot.
think it's 3, 4, or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh gosh, no, but you're right. I didn't even think about this. And it's like,
It's
here,
like,
have some...
he's like the pronoun guy
Oh
in
no,
Tolkien. It's like putting all his pronouns in his bio.
Yeah, and it would be what? The Wronged. It would be...
I identify as someone wronged.
Mhm. Yeah.
Can't even.
I know. And what is it? So they give him crust of bread. Here you go. Well, of course, we know that Lambos is far more than that.
Yeah, Bush is correct in the chat. It says Sam got a rope, Frodo got a lamp, and Gimli got a boner.
That is
Okay. Thanks
all
for that
true.
disturbing
Yeah.
image.
And it lasted the rest of his life. I mean, he never got over her, did he?
He had a boner for the rest of his life.
Well,
For her. Yeah,
a
because remember,
metaphorical. Yeah, one for. Oh gosh.
he
No
kept
wonder the
arguing
ants
with
were-
Legolas about Galadriel being the most beautiful woman in Middle Earth.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
nuts for her.
Yeah, he never. Yeah, nuts. Oh gosh. Okay. Hi, JT Gunter. Thank you for being here.
No wonder the ants were skeptical.
Sort of Poopus Cooper says, please accept
Red meat
this
off the bone, right?
Oh,
Sorry.
okay. Sort of Poopus says, please accept this gift of a goldfish. You'll have to find your own bowl to keep it in.
Yeah. And here's 2 strands of hair to feed it with.
Andy Masterson says that's more than 4 hours.
Yeah, right?
And Bush says every kill was insecurity. Yeah. All right. Where the heck am I? Okay, so okay, we got Lambos. And then Turin's outlaws search for a safe place to stay. They meet 3 dwarves, shooting at one and capturing another named Mim, I don't know, who offers them hospitality in exchange for his life, then follow him to his home on Amon Rood. When they arrive, Mim's son has died from the arrow wound, and Turin offers to pay a ransom for his loss if he ever comes into a fortune. It's like, hey man, sorry I killed your kid, but here, I'll give you some money.
Yeah. I might have money later, so, you know.
Exactly.
Can I give you an IOU?
Kind of like Amber Heard pledging to
Oh,
give to
no.
charity.
There you go. Turin stays with Mim and learns about Mim's people, who, since their banishment from the dwarf cities of the East, have diminished until only Mim and his son remain. That winter, Beleg finds Turin there, bringing the dragon helm and healing the sickly outlaws with Lembas. Yes, that's another thing about the miraculous nature of Lembas, the bread of life, which it's based upon.
Except if you have a gluten allergy.
Well, yeah. Well, thank you for ruining the whole story. So then they go, but I, and then they die.
Well, what if in Middle Earth nobody had gluten allergies?
That's true. Maybe it's genetic. Hound 3000 says, just realized, how did Gimli keep the three strands of hair? I honestly don't know. Maybe he had a little handkerchief or something.
Made a little ribbon of them and put them around. I don't know. Maybe he
Yeah.
put them in his pocket.
There you are, and hopefully it's stuck in there. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mim hates Beleg and broods with his son at the back of the house. Let's go and brood. Around that time, Morgoth's influence grows and his armies take the land north of Doriath. Beleg and Turin guard the land around Amon Rood, and rumors about them spread. Leaderless men flock to the 2 captains, and Turin renames himself again. Gorthal. There we go. Gorthal, the Dread Helm. For fuck's sake. Mim betrays
He
his
should have put something with shadow in there. That's what they do. They put shadow.
the Dread Helm and the Shadow of Death.
The shadow helm.
There you go. Mim betrays the outlaws to a band of orcs, but asks that they spare Turin, which the orcs agree to. The orcs kill many of Turin's men and capture Turin with a net. Mim
Who's Annette? Is that another female character?
Yeah, she's stunning and brave.
Yep.
Oh, Jeannie Mac. Hello, G. Thank you for being here. Happy Saturday to you. The orcs. Oh, wait. Oh yeah, they get caught with Annette. Annette, the redhead. Okay, Mim enters his house again, realizes that Beleg isn't dead. He's not dead yet, and tries to stab him with his own sword. Beleg retrieves his sword and frightens Mim away, promising vengeance. He heals slowly and travels north to rescue Turin, though he has little hope of success. Passing through the treacherous woods of Tor Nufoin, he meets Gwyndor, who has escaped from one of Morgoth's labor camps. Gwyndor has seen the orcs that took Turin, and Beleg inspires Gwyndor to join him on his quest. Oh, for
Gwyndor was the one that was also called Strongbow, right?
I thought that was Bellic.
Or maybe that was Beleg.
Yeah, I think it was Bellic.
okay, everybody, Google. Just a sec. Oh, all right.
Yeah, it
And-
was Beleg, I think.
But that's okay, because you know what? They've all got names left and right that they give them.
Well, it's hard to keep up, you know?
I know. I really thought about like doing all this research and like making indexes and like notes and everything, but like tabs, but I got lazy. We just know who these folks are. And Google is our friend. Okay, I'm sorry. All right. They catch up with the orc company camped for the night. I'm having cat interference here. And carry Turin away while the orcs sleep. While Beleg tries to cut off Turin's shackles, Anglachel slips and cuts Turin's foot. Turin wakes up abruptly, thinking he's still with the orcs, and uses Anglachel to kill Beleg. A flash of lightning reveals Beleg's face. The orcs wake up, and Gwyndor tries to convince Turin to flee, but he only sits beside Beleg's body during the storm. So talk about sucks to be you. I mean, I almost did laugh aloud when I was rereading this, because I'm like, dude, kills Beleg and doesn't mean to. I just stay away from cursed families, for crying out loud.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
No kidding. That was kind of heartbreaking for me whenever
Chased a naked guy off a cliff by mistake. Killed his best friend by mistake.
Yeah, but in all fairness, like with the naked guy or what is his name, Celis or something, he like teased Turin first and said, "Oh, you just run around here with nothing but your hair." So it's like, all right, we're gonna strip you down naked, and you can run around naked.
Yeah, well, he makes bigger mistakes later.
Oh yes.
Well, yeah, like killing this. How many people does he accidentally kill? I mean, for crying out
That
loud.
just broke my heart because Beleg just really loved him like a brother or friend, and it's just, oh, why did that have to happen like that?
Mm-hmm. I mean, he's trying to help him, Ugh. And he's just staying with the body. It's like, yeah, sucks to be you.
And takes like a vow of silence, so to speak, for a while.
Which name should I take for this?
Turin, the grieved
Shadow
or whatever.
Blade.
Yeah.
Not quite like Alec Baldwin, but Andy, but I see your point. Oh my gosh. All right, so see, that's all why I saw you. Why you try not to mess with someone in their sleep. So the orcs depart after the storm, and Gwyndor helps Turin bury Beleg. Turin doesn't speak until Gwyndor leads him to a spring sacred to Ulmo, where he drinks and composes a song for Beleg. Yay! We always love it when they have songs here. Gwyndor gives Turin.
What song was it, though? I shot the sheriff. Did not shoot the deputy.
Oh gosh. Thornapoopus says, before I agree to date your daughter, does your family have a history of drinking or diseases or ancient curses? Oh boy. All right. So he composes a song for Beleg because, you have to have a song somewhere. Gwyndor gives Turin Anglachel, and the two travel to Nargothrond, where Turin thrives under a false name. Wait, do they tell us what it is? Okay. He reforges Anglachel, naming it Gurthang. Dang it, even the swords have different friggin' names. And later becomes known as, here we go, Mormagil, the Black Sword. I think this might be his last one, the Black Sword. Okay. let's see, what is it? Oh my gosh. Though Findulas, Ordereth's daughter, has once loved Gwyndor, she now falls in love with Turin, who doesn't notice her affection. Gwyndor encourages her to follow her heart, but warns her that Turin has a dark fate and reveals his true identity to her. Findulas realizes that Turin will never love her, and Turin confronts Gwyndor about revealing his name and calling his doom upon him. Gwyndor replies that his doom is in himself, not in his name. Dun, dun, dun. When Oldereth hears Turin's identity, Turin convinces him to return to open battle against Morgoth and drives the orcs out of the land. Turin advises Oldereth to build a bridge. Love can build a bridge over the defensive Narog River so that their weapons can be delivered faster. Gwyndor, who speaks against Turin to the king, falls out of favor. A message arrives at Nagabath from Círdan that Ulmo warns of an imminent orc attack and advises that they stay in their fortress to wait it out. At the same time, Morwen and Nienor flee to Doriath. Pay attention. Hound 3000 says, too many names to remember. Surprised that Turin couldn't even remember it.
Right?
And then Sword of Poop says, and then they called him Tim. Hey.
Right?
Yeah. Hey, I would do that. I mean, at this point, my gosh. Well,
It's like,
that's
can we give you something easy to remember, please?
yeah. Those kind of names are more the kind that they're using for the Rings of Power.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Turin refuses to listen to Ulmo's warning and instead leads Nargothrond's forces out to fight Morgoth's army. The orc armies, aided by Glamrung, are too strong. Ordereth is killed, and Turin carries Gwyndor, gravely wounded, from the battlefield into the woods. Though Gwyndor loves Turin, he regrets meeting him. He advises Turin to leave him and save Findulas, since she's the only thing standing between him and his doom. The bridge Turin built over the river Narog to transport weapons is used against him by the orc army to sack Nagathron, because nothing can happen that will work out. Turin arrives and meets Glamrung in front of the doors of Nagaroth. Turin withstands his fire thanks to his dragon home, but falls under Glamrung's binding spell. Glamrung taunts him about his mother and sister living in poverty in Durinth. Turin suddenly sees himself as Glamrung portrays him, a traitor and a deserter to his family, and stands frozen as the orcs take the women and children of Nagaroth captive. Findulas among them calls out to Turin, but Glamrung doesn't release him until she's gone. Holy crap, this is just one thing after another.
Yeah, it's very sad.
Yeah. Yeah. And
I mean, you feel like, I don't know about you guys, but whenever I was reading through it, I feel like it was like a self-fulfilling prophecy a lot of the time, because his own anger, his own seeking revenge kind of bit him in the butt. But at the same time, his life was very tragic.
yeah. Well, and the dude has a curse on him. So it's like, that's why I keep saying it reminds me of Greek tragedy, that the more you try to avoid it, the more you actually fulfill it.
Yeah. Very true. Very well said.
So, yeah. Turin attacks Glamrung, who jumps back and offers Turin his freedom to go find Morwen and Nienor, telling him there won't be time to save them if he stops to rescue Findulas. Still confused by Glamrung's spell, Turin believes him and travels north, unaware that Glamrung was sent by Morgoth to keep him away from Findulas. Of course! Glamrung breaks Turin's bridge and sleeps on the treasure in Nagathron. When Turin arrives at Dor Lomin, he learns from Morwen's servant that she and Nienor went to Doriath. Realizing Glamrung tricked him, Turin becomes enraged and kills several Easterlings, causing trouble for the remnants of the House of Hador before escaping south again. He decides to leave his mother and sister in Doriath, where they're safe behind Melian's girdle, and searches for Findulas. Holy shit. So, once again, See, what does it say? Scotty J says it is true. His constant bitterness brought about the evil things he's done. Yeah, and
Yeah.
and we can't, take discount the fact that Morgoth is sitting there pulling all the strings as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So little he knows, little he sees. Turin meets the men of Brethil who fought the orc company that took Findulas. A man named Dorlos reveals that the orcs killed their prisoners rather than allow them to escape. Findulas died, asking the men of Brethil to tell Mormagil, Turin's alias, where she was. When Turin cries over her grave, the men of Brethil realize he's Mormagil and take him in, despite their leader Brandir's feeling of foreboding. And he takes a new name to Rambar, meaning Master of Doom, and wields a bow rather than a sword. So now he's the Master of Doom. I'm imagining him, the way it would be with in Game of Thrones, the Khaleesi, Daenerys. It's like breaker of sword, mother of dragons, breaker of chains, stormborn, and all that. I mean, at this point, he's what? He's Master of Doom, the Wronged, all this sorts of things.
Yeah, that's a good point. I like it. That's what he should have done with it. That's a good idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Actually, it takes 5 or 10 minutes to introduce them,
Yeah, and they're like, just shut up, just choose a name. Like Snort Poopa says, just call me Tim. Scotty Jace makes a good point. I guess this is free will versus fate. He was cursed to be that way, so it's hard to say if Turin chose to keep acting that way. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
It's like things are always set, destined to be, or some things are always destined to be. So no matter how hard he tried to fight it, it just wasn't going to come undone, maybe?
Yeah. Or was it that his story was already sealed and the curse just told about what was going to happen? Hell, I don't know. Yeah. Just the way it is. To Rambar. Okay, thank you. But yeah, I guess in general, especially if you're living in a magical fantasy world, if you hear about a curse, I mean, those are curses you actually have to believe in. Like people, it's like, that's an issue. But if you're not living in a fantasy fictional world, usually curses aren't a problem. And question mark, I think, is that about how I said it to Rambar? Okay, and Snorpoop says, and that's when the elves gave Turin his last name, Lucky. What the hell? Oh, gosh.
You should have taken the name Nude Chaser.
Oh, yeah.
Crackwhacker.
Slayer of friends. Some survivors of the sacking of Nagathron travel to Doriath and reveal that Mormagil is actually Turin. Rumor says that he was either killed or still a captive of Glamrung. Morwen leaves Doriath to find Turin, and Leonor secretly follows her. You see, we doing that. Though Thingol sends guards after them, they both refuse to return because they're dumber than rocks. I mean, come on. It's like, I'll go find them. It'll be okay. What could possibly go wrong?
I have no defenses, but I've got this. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm better than Melian's girdle.
Yeah.
All right. Thingol's guards, led by Mablung, follow them to Nuthgarond, where Glambrung sees them and raises a mist over the river. Morwen is lost, and no news about her ever returns to Doriath. Leonor stumbles upon Glambrung, who casts a spell of forgetfulness on her, and then returns to Nagathrond. Watch out for those spells of forgetfulness. Actually, what was that in Harry Potter? The Oblivious. They would do that.
Obliviate. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. Maplin finds Nienor, who won't speak and doesn't seem to hear her, and leads her away. Yeah. And near Doriath, they're attacked by an orc band, and Nienor flees from both the orcs and her elf guards. Mablung returns to tell Thingol and Melian what happened, then leaves Doriath again to search for Morin and Nienor. Nienor, who doesn't remember her own name or the name of any other thing, wanders into Brethil and throws herself onto Findalus's grave when frightened by a storm. Turin finds her there and takes her in. She's comforted by his presence and refuses to be parted from him, but, unable to understand his speech, becomes troubled when he tries to question her. Turin names her Niniel. Holy crap! Now,
He likes naming things, doesn't he?
I know, yeah. Tear Maiden. Wow. Brandir heals her illness, and the women of Brethil teach her language, though she never remembers anything from the time before Turin found her. Very convenient for what comes next. Brandir falls in love with Neil, but she loves Turin. Brandir reveals Turin's identity to her, and though she doesn't recognize the name, it gives her a bad feeling.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. Instinct. Follow your instincts, everybody. Because of it, she rejects Turin the first time he proposes to her, but accepts him 3 years later, and we all go, ew, gross.
And then he took the name Sister Fucker.
Oh, no.
Wouldn't it be more like sister husband? I don't know.
Well, I mean, technically, another sister wife, another meaning to that term. Yes. Scotty J says, rather, if I remember right, the girdle of Melian was a protective veil around Doriath. Yeah, so that's why they shouldn't have left. And Turin, being anciently descended from the Skywalkers, kisses his sister.
Well, I think the moral of the story is, Thingol isn't really keen to bring people into his land, and if he allows you to stay, just stay there.
Yeah, it's like, you dumbasses.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, no, I can't read that aloud. Okay, I will not read that aloud. I will continue. So they're married. When Glamrung sends orcs into Brethil again, Turin takes up his sword and leads his men to defeat him. The following year, Niniel becomes pregnant.
Ugh.
Yeah, that's really, really bad.
And grows wan and sad. Turin promises her that he won't go to battle unless the people of Brethil are directly attacked. You know what? This is proof that this is a Greek tragedy. I was going to say it's even got incest, accidental incest. Gosh darn it. Shortly after, Glamring appears on the borders of Brethil, and Turin makes a plan to defeat him with trickery. Turin leaves with Dorlas and Hunthar, and Niniel leads a crowd of people to follow him. Brandir tries to dissuade him, but they refuse to listen, dumbasses. He renounces his lordship and tries to follow Niniel to protect her, though lame from childhood, he falls behind. Glamrung lies on the other side of a gorge, and Turin plans to climb down, cross the river, and climb up the other side. Though Dorlas turns back, Turin and Hunthar cross the river safely. Poor, Brethil, and he's like, wait up, and they're being all mean to the dude who can't walk and not doing it. Glamrung wakes up and begins to crawl over the gorge while Turin is still below, and Hunthar is killed by a falling stone. Have you seen You're Doomed yet? Turin climbs the gorge alone and stabs Glamrung's soft belly with Gurthang. Gurthang throws himself across the chasm, wrenching Gurthang from Turin's grip. Turin crosses the river again and climbs back up to retrieve his sword, then mocks Glamrung. When he pulls the sword from Glamrung's belly, the blood burns him, and Glarum stares at him with malice, and Turin faints. Oh no. And Sort of Poopa says if you could listen closely, you can hear the sounds of banjos. Niniel, waiting near Gareth, hears Glamrung screaming and, followed by Brandir, runs to find Turin, who's still unconscious and appears to be dead. As Niniel cries and tends to his burned hand, Glamrung stirs for the last time. He congratulates her on finding her brother. Faithless and treacherous, and tells her that she carries the worst of all his deeds.
Oh, that's awful.
Oh. As Glamrung dies, he removes his spell from her, allowing her to remember her life as Nienor. Oh, Nienor cries at Turin Turambar. The master of doom is now mastered by his doom. Brandir, who heard what the dragon said, runs toward her, but she flees and throws herself into the gorge. As Brandir walks back to Nin Girith, he finds Dorlas in the woods and kills him, the only blood he ever spills. The crowd at Nin Girith asks where Niniel is, and he explains that she, Turin, and Glamrung are all dead. He also reveals Niniel and Turin's identities as brother and sister, and the people weep. I'd say they have a lot to weep with, but I mean, you talk about some evil stuff here. I mean, and gosh, and she throws her pregnant self over the cliff. I mean, it's just horrible. Turin wakes up confused about his bandaged hand and rides at Ningurith, asking where Niniel is. Brandir tells Turin that she's dead. Dorlas's wife calls Brandir crazed, and Turin is cruel to him, assuming he's begrudging his relationship with Niniel. Brandir repeats Glamrung's last words, revealing Niniel as Nienor again, and calling Turin a curse on his family, I'll say. Turin accuses Brandir of leading Niniel to his death and spreading Glamrung's life, then curses and kills him. Holy crap. As Turin cries on Findalus's grave, unsure what to do, he meets Mablum with a company of elves who come to help Glamrung. Turin begs for news of his family in Doriath. Mablum explains that Moron was lost and Nienor lost her memory before running away, and Turin realizes that Glamrung was telling the truth. Turin curses Doriath and flees from the elves. At the gorge, Turin takes out Gurthing and asks if it will kill him swiftly. The sword answers it will gladly kill him to forget Beleg and Brandir, who were unjustly killed. Turin sets the sword on the ground and throws himself onto it. Mablum and the elves arrive and learn the reason for Nienor's death, and Mablum mourns that his arrival caused Turin's suicide. When they lift Turin up to bury him, they find Gurthang broken. The elves sing a lament for the children of Hurin and carve Turin and Nienor's names into a stone on the burial mound, though they never find Nienor's body. And Sort of Poopa says it well here, Tolkien's darkest tale. Steve, what the fudge is all this? Oh my gosh.
Well, it's like you said, it's like a Greek tragedy, you know. But yeah, the Children of Hurin book is well worth a read. I'd say it's probably on par with Lord of the Rings. It's shorter though, but it's still, you know, the story is great, you know. So get it read.
Yeah. Well, and I'm sure it fleshes out. Maybe I haven't read it, and more dialogue and all that. And oh my gosh.
Yeah, well, it reads more like an actual book, you know, rather than a history lesson.
Yeah. Yes. Scotty J said Turin actually speaks to the sword and asks that it kill him. Okay, thank you for clarifying that. The sword responds saying it will do gladly for the innocent blood that Turin spilled. Yeah. And Snorpoop says, I have a feeling that Tolkien was inspired by the Norse legend of a cursed sword called Tyrfing. I don't know, Steve, do you know anything about that?
Sounds familiar, but it's way back in whatever memory I had of it, right?
Yeah, no problem. And I probably totally butchered the name. Yeah, I'm looking at Tolkien's text here for this, because I mean this was a hard one. It's like talk about an exercise in futility.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, and it's yeah. What does he say? Wilt thou slay me? Wilt thou slay me swiftly? And a blade rang a cold voice. It says, yes, this is what the sword says to Turin. This is from Tolkien's text. Yes, I will drink thy blood gladly. Holy crap. Though the brother and sister get married together. Yeah. Sorry.
I'm sorry, Teresa.
No, go ahead.
So what it kind of, I don't know, what that scene kind of told me is, I know earlier in the book they were talking about that, how that sword had Eowl's like soul in it, kind of, so to speak, kind of like the ring has Sauron's soul in it. And you guys remember Eowl from a few chapters back, the dark elf that imprisoned like Turgon's sister and married her.
Yeah,
so
maybe that's part of it.
Yeah, that's the only thing I could think of. I'm like, why is the sword talking? What the hell? I'm like, oh, okay, well, maybe it's because
it wasn't the magic mushrooms.
Exactly, right? So I'm like, that's really weird. Okay, inanimate things don't typically talk in Tolkien books, so that's the only thing I could come up with, is it was part of Eowl's soul, and then whenever the sword broke, it left the sword.
Yeah.
That makes, yeah, I'll take that explanation.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's a good connection. Kelvin said swords talk in Disney movies all the time. Well, yeah, a lot of inanimate things, but well, and I think that this is the only one that we really see where there's like a spell like actually cast, like real, I guess, witchcraft, for lack of a better word.
I mean, dragons are magical creatures, so I mean, it's it's believable.
Gosh, it's like, well, hello, darling. Yeah, I'm so glad you and your brother.
Here's your husband / brother. Boom, and then he goes out and dies. It's pretty messed up.
Yeah. I mean, oh my gosh. It's, oh gosh, what she says is the black sword, and that's one of the names for Turin, was my beloved and my husband.
He was the sword, she was the sheath.
I think I would probably throw myself off the cliff as well. Just be like, I did what with my brother? What? Oh no, can't take it.
Interestingly enough, the appendices covering that incident is labeled Cliff Notes.
Noise.
No, this is this story though, and Baron and Luthien are probably the best stories in the book.
Yeah, I'd say so. It's good, but then at the same time, it's very tragic and disturbing. But yeah, I would say so.
Tolkien's great at writing tragedies.
Yeah, he is.
He's almost better than writing happy endings, right? No pun intended. Good grief, Rennie.
What? All I did was laugh.
I know what you were laughing at.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's almost like the anti-Baron Luthien, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It's absolutely anti-Beren and Luthien.
Yeah, so we have this
Yeah, I
lovely
like that.
tale beyond death, but
Because
you know,
Turin wasn't he wasn't likable at all.
No.
He was a bit of an asshole.
That's the tough part, right? Because his story was very tragic, but it was really hard to feel bad at him or bad for him at the same time because he was just always so angry and aggressive with everybody. And I'm like, where is this coming from? Thingol was like very kind to him, which we all know Thingol's like, I don't want anybody that's not from here coming in here, you know? But he took him on as a foster son. He loved him. He forgave him for everything he did. And he was still like angry about everything. And I'm like, I just don't get this guy. What's going on?
yeah, and you're right. Everyone loves him. His friends, was he
Yeah.
hot? I mean, what the hell?
Yeah, actually, he was supposed to be the best looking man that ever lived, according to the chapter. I remember, I forget where they said it, but I reread over that part today and I was like, okay, so they forgave him because he's cute. Okay. I mean, it's the only thing I could think of.
Yeah, but you know, we've all seen people that are good looking, but come on, you know,
I think an ugly attitude and an ugly personality makes you an ugly person.
mm-hmm.
So I
Yeah.
won't see you as beautiful anymore, you know?
Yeah. But yeah, it seems like he can do no wrong. I mean, the fact is that the other dude loved her. She was like, but I love the other guy, my brother. I mean, didn't they look alike? That's what I want to know. Did anyone go, you have the same eyes?
You know, that's a good point to make, but I don't know. I don't really look like my younger brother, or at least I don't think I do. We keep hearing stuff, or we've heard stuff all our lives that we don't look alike. I mean, so you do have that, but then, you know, you do see a lot of siblings that it's like, oh yeah, that's definitely your sister, or that's definitely your brother. So, good question.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know how many elves and humans and all that are there at this time. I mean, it could be, you know, kind of like Europe, you know, how they all married each other. I don't know. Not a large gene pool. I don't know. Or at least the nobles.
Everybody had lobster claws for hands.
Oh, God. Sort of says, you have the eyes of our father. That's kind of gross.
That's so gross.
Well, but I think that they established some of it too, the fact that he left when he was so young. So he wasn't even really around her even when they were young, you know.
Well, I think that because the first daughter died, I think, and I think she was born after he left. So I don't think, or she barely knew him when he left, something like that. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't recognize somebody that it's like the last time I saw you I was 5, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, because I know that she was pregnant after the dude died. I need to go back and double check maybe how soon it was, but definitely way too young to have a memory of that. And Turin was but 8 years. Oh, here it is. Turin was but 8 years old, and she was again with child. So I think that maybe he even left before the baby was born. Let me see. I'm looking really. Therefore, it came into her heart to send him away in secret and to beg Thindol to do it. Yeah. So actually, she was just pregnant with him. So from what I'm clarifying here, in the first beginning of the year, Morgan gave birth to her child. Yeah, after he was gone. But Turin and his companions, passing through great perils, came at last to the board of Doriath. So they were ships passing in the night, in the womb.
Wow.
God.
Had to go there, did you?
I'm sorry. I didn't write this stuff. Talk to Tolkien. Oh man.
If I ever get to talk to Tolkien in the afterlife, I'm not going to bring this up.
Be like, so what were you thinking when you wrote this story? What made you want to go there?
Yeah. I guess you don't want to get cursed by Morgoth. I mean, holy crap. But I always think it's messed up that it's not the kid's fault. I mean, all these dads, you know. Well, actually, in the case of Hurin, he didn't make his kids do an oath the way Feanor did. But
No, he just pissed off Morgoth. But
yeah.
he never, I think it said he never like gave into what Morgoth wanted. He kept his integrity.
Yeah.
Which was nice, because from what they said, Morgoth can be pretty terrifying. And I have like an illustrated picture in my book that shows like Morgoth was like 20 times her in size, because it showed him sitting in that high chair. And Morgoth's towering over him and stuff. And I was like, holy crap. And he didn't give in. Go Hurin.
Yeah. And Scotty J says, and then poor Hurin was let go and shown what happened to his family. Oh, yeah. Kelvington says, a womb with a view. And Sort of Poopa says, sorry, go ahead.
Oh. No, I just said, oh. That's
okay. I thought you were like,
oh. Good fun.
Yeah. Well done. And Sort of Poopa
Steve's like, stealing it.
This may explain how the Habsburgs evolved. I don't know, but was there a curse involved? Was there a curse? Now, not to be too weird, because real world stuff, but I do know in the Russian, right before the Russian Revolution, there was, gosh, who was that dude's name? They said that Rasputin or whatever, who was a confidant of the Tsarina, that there was some shady stuff going on there, but who knows?
You know what? I was watching a Christopher Lee video the other day, and he was showing off the his collection of obscure items, and he had a picture of Rasputin's daughter, an actual photograph of Rasputin's daughter. Which is insane, but he had it.
Yeah, that is odd.
Did he?
Well, he actually played Rasputin too, I think, in a movie.
Oh, he'd be perfect. Did she look weird and creepy?
Yeah, but everyone looks weird and creepy in old pictures.
That's true.
No, that is true.
Yeah.
Okay, then. Well, you heard it here first. Rasputin. Yeah, Evans Rasputin. Okay. Oh, I don't know what happened, Rennie, but your picture's back there. Well, so that's that. I think that I will have to agree with you, Steve, that these are probably the two most compelling stories of Beren and Luthien, and that of the Silmarillion. I need to reread the last part, but I can't imagine.
I'm guessing the Fall of Gondolin is great too, because I don't remember crap about that.
Yeah.
But it's going to be fun to reread that one. But that one was released as a novel as well, the Fall of Gondolin.
Mm-hmm.
So it's probably because it's good, right?
Exactly.
I would assume so. Yeah.
Well, and it's so significant. And I'm looking forward to that. And also of Numenor and all that. Okay, so that brings up a good point here. We have for next week, we are going to read 3 chapters of Tour and the Fall of Gondolin, of the Voyage of Erendil and the War of Wrath. Love these titles. Love these War of Wrath. And or is it 2 chapters? Oh no, because we're going to do the Alcabeth. No, wait, we're not going to do the Alcabeth.
Akelabeth.
Sorry, Akelabeth. I'm sorry. And of the Ruin of Doriath. Sorry, I was supposed to start with that. So we're going to do chapters 22, 23, and 24. And then that's going to be the end of the Silmarillion. And then we're going to go to the Akelabeth. There we go. And the downfall of Numenor, and then just very briefly of the Rings of Power and the Third Age, because that's basically just a summary and a few little extra details of the whole Lord of the Rings story. So we're looking at 2 more weeks, and it's been one heck of a journey. I'm looking forward to getting to the finish line and putting it all to bed. We're not going to read the the names. What is it of all the?
Oh my, yeah.
Yeah. The appendices is basically names and some pronunciations. It's not like the Lord of the Rings where there's family trees.
Easy to spot Turin's family tree though, because it's the only one that ends in a circle.
Oh, the story of Arendelle is great. Yeah, so it's going to be fun. And if we could be living in a different era of adaptation, they could easily do all of these stories and really do justice to them. But no one's willing to do it. And
after the Silmarillion, I think we're doing the Sword of Shannara.
That is correct. Yes, we are going to be going on to another author. So, thank you for bringing that up, Steek. So, if you haven't read that, and if you don't own it, go out and get it, and maybe start it if you want to.
Get it with the original cover, because it's worth it.
Yes. Yeah, head out to a thrift store, secondhand bookstore. They're usually there, and they're very reasonably priced, or eBay as well. I think I got mine from eBay. Yes, I did get those from eBay. Attention, Doctor Who fan says Snorter Poop Scuba. Tom Baker played Rasputin in a 1970s movie called Nicholas and Alexandra. There we are. Okay. Before we start to wind this down, how about in the final thoughts, like, I don't know, Princess Rennie, about what we've seen so far?
Pretty interesting. I don't know. For me, I found it very enthralling to see the difference between Hurin and Turin, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hurin was a good man with a lot of integrity and a lot of scruples, but he paid dearly for that, right? As for Turin, was a not so great guy, still lived accursed, but still lived a halfway decent life. For some reason, people loved him. And yeah, like, he was not a good person and kept doing horrible things or acting out of rage and anger instead of logic. And, you can't respect people with that kind of demeanor, and I just didn't understand, especially when Beleg was like, but I still love him. He's my friend. I'm like, but why? He's a jerk. So, yeah. And, I totally understand. This part, like, gutted me both times whenever he killed him, because he was kind of crazed by everything that went on with the orcs and stuff. So I know his mind wasn't the best. So I did find that part, like, tragic, but also touching. It's like, oh, Turin does have a heart. So that's good, But yeah, it's very hard to be sympathetic for his character when he was just not a very great character. But it's a very interesting story to read, and I'm glad that I reread it. It's just like, dang, it just shows you, like, for me, these 2 chapters show you what, like, the evil side of the bad side can do, or what things can happen when they manipulate things, because Morgoth manipulated men to turning against each other when they were trying to fight him. And then you have, what was his name? Glaurung the dragon, or Glaurath, trying to manipulate everybody else. So he manipulated Turin, he manipulated his sister. So it just kind of shows you, maybe don't trust a dragon, or like an evil king.
Yeah.
So I thought it was interesting to kind of reflect upon the 2 together, and I thought they fit very well together.
Yeah. No. Well, gosh, dang, very well said. Steek?
No, I agree with Rennie. And it's like I said early on, though, the first half of the Silmarillion is a drag. At least it was for me, and I think for many other people too. It's not a book that's for everyone, But the second half is great. Way more easier to follow, and that's where the greater stories are too, in my opinion.
Well, they're the parts that actually are stories.
Yeah.
Well, the first is more like myth. The first 5 chapters of the Bible, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would Beren and Luthien be considered the second part of the book, or the first part, or second half or first half?
Second half.
Okay, good.
It's
I
it's
really love
basically
that.
after the myth stuff,
Okay.
you know.
Yeah,
Once
when the
we go
narration.
from myth to history.
Yeah, I mean the first part. Well, I mean technically the actual parts of the Silmarillion is that. See, because you have the I can't pronounce any of these names. Well, the Quinta Silmarillion actually does have some of the myth stuff at the beginning, doesn't it? But yeah, but the first one is the Valaquinta, and the gosh, and Nulindale. Yeah, dragons are intensely evil in Tolkien stories. Yes, yes, definitely uses traditional symbolism in his. And I can't pronounce half of this Snortopupus, but he says Tolkien was inspired by an Anglo-Saxon poem called The Christ, and I'm not going to say it, but then I think you pronounce this is a translation. Hail, Arendelle, brightest of angels, sent over Middle Earth to mankind. That's definitely in keeping with his scholarship.
Yeah.
All right. So, anything else? Speak now or forever destroy your happiness.
No,
nope.
I really enjoyed rereading these chapters. It's just I'm really glad we only did 2, Teresa, because it took me almost 2 hours to read those 2 chapters and actually comprehend everything. So
Yeah, I'm not even sure I still comprehend.
Well,
I was.
it's basically all the name droppings that are
yeah,
that confuse people, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think next week we should come on with like 10 billion names after our names. Like how much would StreamYards let you put in there?
Oh, I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know what the limit is. Oh my gosh. Well, Steve's been kind of doing it with his Twitter names. Steve of
Oh
are you
yeah,
of Rivia right now?
yeah. Because I've been reading The Witcher,
Ah,
so I
I
just
figured that's what it was.
yep, I do stuff like that.
Yeah, because you've been Stieg the Mighty Pirate when we were doing the Monkey Island stuff, and then Stieg of Kryn for Dragonlance.
Yeah,
I'm.
I just do stuff like that. Put on a new profile picture or something.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, 40. Kelvington says 40 characters. So you heard it here first. Alrighty. So, Stieg, where can we find you?
Right here on Saturdays and on Mora's channel, Jade Shadow on most Wednesdays, and once per month I do a stream with Lady Greymaster about the 1980s stuff we're doing, and we've reached 1985, and we're going to review a movie each and then talk about 1985 a little bit, what happened in 85. We started with 80 and now we're at 85, so that's actually quite a bit of fun. And the
Any
movies
idea of what you guys are doing?
yes, because we did 84 earlier this week, and we're gonna do Lady Hawk and Silverado.
Yay!
For 85.
Cool.
I love both those movies. Well, especially I love Lady Hawk. That's my movie, and I haven't seen Silverado since the 80s, so it'll be great. Well, thank you, and thank you to everyone. I'm sorry.
Yeah, if anyone in the chat hasn't seen Silverado, watch it. It's like an 80s action movie set in the Old West with a great cast.
Okay, yeah, you heard it here first. Thank you, Great Stream, y'all. Yeah, thank you to everyone that's been here in the chat. 1895, the best year of all time. Back to the Future was that year too. Rennie, what can we see you doing?
Well, here typically Saturdays, and then Saturday evenings and afternoons, typically on Mr. Brown Alliance. We've been kind of falling down on our Saturday stuff lately, so I'm not sure what the next movie will be, but it's typically not something brand new. It's just talking about stuff we like, because as we all know, modern entertainment isn't great. So we just rather celebrate the stuff we like. Exactly, right? So yeah, that's typically where I am. From time to time, I'll be on Potato Revan's channel on Thursdays, but I go to bed at old people time, so it's just really hard for me to do that.
Yeah.
But that's it.
Alrighty. Well, you heard it here first. All right. So stay tuned to that. Subscribe to all these people and people we mentioned. I know that earlier on Lady Gravemasters was in the chat. Thank you to all our animals in the chat. We had a dog and a polar bear, at least, for sure. And top Western quality. Oh, I guess referring to Silverado. All right. Have a great day, everyone. Have a great day. And be certain if you find yourself strangely attracted to someone but have a bad feeling about it, get a DNA test.